Welcome to the Giddy Goose Show, where stories come alive. What happens if someone tells you to hold your breath forever? How do you react if you're called by a name that is not your own? Is it okay if one person's truth is another person's deceit? In this new episode, a young man narrates what happens when he and his best friend are confronted with a life and death choice. We hope this story stays with you. This one's called The One with the French Fries.
Oh, for someone with a fitness resolution, this platter of French fries is just wrong. Except that there is nothing wrong with this particular order, right? Okay, fine. Honest confession, ami French fries khete khoob bhalobashi. Bless the French or the Portuguese or wherever this yummy, crunchy awesomeness is from. This is exactly what I need right now. But before you say anything, I am not at this cafe just for these fries or the sandwich or the milkshake. Yes, it's way too many things for one person. But I've been here for the last 3 hours, waiting for, am I scared or just anxious? No idea what I'm talking about. Figures. Well, it's about what happened with my best friend. I've known him for 14 years, you see. Since we were kids, I cannot recall the number of parties, trips, and movies we have been to. I thought I knew him like the back of my palm. Until that day when আমি খুব রেগে গেছিলাম. Did friendship involve such deceit? I felt humiliated, cheated, and angry. I wanted to punch him right on his face. Maybe that would knock some sense into him, I thought. Ki bolbo. What did he mean by I don't identify as a man anymore? He was a man, for God's sake. What the bloody hell did that even mean? Identifying. If you're a man, you are a man. You cannot be a woman or be identified as one. Anyone with eyes would tell him that he was a man. So what was he even... It was time for him to think of getting married, starting a family. Not about asking basic anatomy questions. I wondered if he was joking. Maybe he had some twisted fantasy. He said he wanted to come out to his family as a woman. Baap re, my nuts almost jumped into my belly. I checked his breath. Shotti, ami kollam. To see if he was high on something. He told me he needed me to understand, to know his truth and support him. Support who? Kisher support? The 28-year-old man claiming that he was not a man after all? My mind was hosting a wrestling match inside my skull. And what about his girlfriend from college? He told me it was just a pretense and that he liked men. What did that mean? Was he gay? I thought of all those times together at the gym locker room. Was he looking at me? Did he touch me? Was he feeling me up when we... Chi! Ki bichiri! I felt like throwing up. How could he do that to me? I got up and I left. I could not bear to be around him. Not when he called me a couple of days after to talk. An hour later, I was sitting next to him on a park bench. His eyes were bloodshot. I could tell he hadn't been sleeping well. Crying. He apologized for having upset me. His eyes were glued to the the dry grass below our feet. I knew how desperately he wanted me to understand. I did not understand. I did not want to understand. Ki, what the heck was there to understand, I thought? Ki ami korte partam. He kept his hand on my shoulder. I shrugged it off and walked away from his touch. He tried to pull me back to sit down. His touch repulsed me. Chee! And before I knew, I had turned around, shoved him, and slapped him across his face, tearing his lip. I could see the shock on his bloody face, but I was furious. He just stood there, his eyes flowing with helplessness. I could not bear to be with him. I told him never to contact me again and walked away. Once again, I decided I did not need him in my life. Bas. But I could not stop thinking about him. Had he told his parents? How could he be so selfish? I tried to block it all out. But I missed my friend. Then one evening, I was out with colleagues at a film festival. They randomly picked a film, The Danish Girl, starring Eddie Redmayne. I had walked into the theatre expecting a romantic love story about a handsome man falling in love with a lovely Danish girl. Instead, I witnessed the conflicted and tragic life of a man who gives up everything, just trying to steal a single day living as what he identified with, being a woman. I did not understand it, but I could see her pain. But was this what my friend had been trying to tell me? With his last breath in the film, Eddie turned my world upside down. My friend was hurting and I somehow made it all about me when it was Ami ki bhabchilam. It was already past midnight, but I could not wait any longer. So I drove over to his house and called him on his phone as soon as I parked my car on the street outside. It kept ringing. I tried again and again. I kept calling until he eventually picked up. He sounded wretched, his voice weak, shaking. I could hear the traffic sounds in the background. What was he doing on the terrace so late? I looked up on an instant, gazing straight into his eyes, looking down at me from the ledge of the terrace. He looked scared. I was terrified. I told him to calm down and back off the ledge. He kept asking me to forgive him, crying, trembling. Please, don't do this, I prayed. So I said the first thing that came into my mind. I told him, I've never hurt a girl in my life, but if you jump and die like this, I will definitely kill you. This was 3 days back. And today, I'm at this cafe to commemorate his death. Because sooner or later, he had to die. No, Shoti. Because if he did not, she would never get a chance to live. And she is alive now. In fact, she is coming to meet me here soon, the first time, as herself. I wish I'll be a better friend to her than I was to him. I mean, less of a jackass. So, I'm a bit nervous. And I hog like a pig when I'm nervous. Oh, God bless the French fries. They do take the edge off. Tumio khabe?
Hope you like the story. If yes, tell your friends about us, and stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, stay well.